There's so many. Has anyone been to them all?
Not likely.
I want to be the first one to see them all.
Truly wonderful the mind of a child is.
Come on.
When you find people who need your help, you help them, no matter what.
Good luck.
We have hope. Hope that things can get better. And they will.
Stand up together. Because that's when we're strongest. As one.
You won't be going alone. You'll have a friend with you.
No. I'll have a Jedi with me.
You might wanna buckle up, baby.
Rise
in the Force.
Take care of this little one.
It'll take care of you. We had each other. That's how we won.
Force is strong in my family.
Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
What is it they've sent us?
Hope.
Hello there. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Nerdy Cantina. This is a show where we discuss all things Star Wars, specifically the new series that is blowing up the interwebs in more ways than one. Star Wars: The Acolyte. Going to be talking about the latest episode. This is going to be spoiler-heavy discussion. So if you have not seen the latest episode or episodes of Star Wars: The Acolyte, take this video, pause it, put it in your watch later list, and then come back and watch it after you've had a chance to see the latest episode of Star Wars: The Acolyte. Without any further ado, please welcome my good friend, and I guess we can call him the co-host, because, I mean, he runs a YouTube channel that talks about this fandom for Pete's sake. Dutch Star Wars guy is back. What's up, Case? How you doing?
Hello. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. I made that video that I was talking about regarding the controversy about the Acolyte. It's got a lot of response so far. It's really blowing up, which is honestly, it's fascinating to see what certain people think are legit criticisms towards the show. But that's okay. I'm here to just have a good time with you guys and talk about the Acolyte.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful idea, and we're happy that you're here with us. Also joining us is someone who's a bit new. You know, he's a bit of a casual guy, just strolls in when he feels like it. He's just having a good time. Free drinks, free food, whatever. Please welcome the host and producer of All Star Fandom Show. Dion is in the building. Hello, Dion. Welcome back, good sir. How are you?
What's up, Ryan? Good to be here, man. I have my pen. I have my pad. I'm ready. I got some questions. So
you got some questions? Believe me, I have a few questions of my own. So
questions and comments, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get them answered tonight. We don't know, but we do have a wise sage and the Yoda to my Luke Skywalker. He's finally back. We finally were able to wrangle him back, bring him into the studio once again. He is a member of the Big Sci-Fi Podcast crew. He may be a Star Wars fan and a Star Trek fan, but listen, you can mix and match and you can enjoy both fandoms as one. So please welcome Brian back. Hello, Brian. How are you, good sir?
Hey, everybody. It's Brian from Ohio and the Big Sci-Fi Podcast. Good to be here. Good to be here with you, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's good to see you and good to have you back. Now, if you have any questions, comments about Star Wars Acolyte, any of that jazz, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Don't forget to like and share this with every single person that you know. And if you're watching us live or on the replay, we thank you so much for being with us. And with that out of the way, Case, what were some of the positives that stood out to you in this week's episode of Star Wars: The Acolyte, simply called Day?
Yeah, Day, the precursor to Night, I assume. Positive. The ending. I'm just going to get right into it because the ending was an amazing cliffhanger where the master shows up and he just pushes them all away and it cuts the credits and I'm like, I need to know what happens next because like, wow, that was an ending. That was everything that the episode had been leading up to because other than that, well, I suppose we'll get into the negatives in a little bit, but I thought the rest of the episode was pretty straightforward. Like, it just continued to plot. There wasn't essentially a standout thing. But when we got to the ending and we saw the master, I'm like, oh, shit's going down. Okay, this is cool.
Yeah, a little hand there just flicks Osha out of the way and be like, okay, get out of my face. I got business to attend to. And then the lightsabers come out and you're like, oh, in the words of our good friend Ken Watanabe, let them fight. So, it's going to happen. Something's going to go down. So I get that. But yeah, so Dion, I know you got 60,000 pages of notes there. You got a giant pen that you've been itching and scratching to use all night long. I know you've had to wait an extra few hours because we had a special block of programming for this week due to our schedule. But with that out of the way, any positives that stood out to you in this week's episode, Dion?
No, I agree. Like the ending is like, it felt, this might be more of a negative, but I love the ending because I know we're setting up for like one heck of a battle. But I think it was just straightforward. But my positive I wrote down was Basil is my new favorite character. Like that was when I saw him the first time on the ship, I was like, I'm gonna like this character. And he doesn't say a word, just a tracker. Need a tracker to track their tracker. It was like I enjoyed that part. So those are my positives from it. It's just what we're gonna get leading up to. I think the anticipation is probably the thing that was the positive out of this show for me. Very straightforward, but yeah, Basil and the battle that's yet to come.
Yeah. I should have said, but I'll get to that in my positives. But I got to go to the one of our guests of honor tonight, Brian, brother. It's been so long since we've seen you in the studio. You've been itching, scratching, and clawing to share your thoughts about Star Wars: The Acolyte for so many weeks now. But I gotta ask you this question. What were the positives that stood out to you in this week's episode?
The music for this series is phenomenal, in my opinion. I thought the music in this episode was really epic, really wonderfully composed. You feel everything you're supposed to feel. And then also, I feel like this episode, even though it wasn't quite on the level of what I'm about to say, I got a real Lord of the Rings kind of fellowship going on with these Jedi going through, trying to find, is it May? So I think that was a cool vibe for me, bringing in other fandom into this. And then that whole great cinematic shot where the Jedis all light their lightsabers and the camera pulls back as they do that, really good. I've been waiting for this show as much as I love Carrie-Anne Moss's fight scene in the first episode. This kind of there's some scenes in this that got me I was excited to see what's about to happen. So that's some cool stuff there for me.
I gotcha. Wow, When
they were all following Basil, that's what I thought of.
Really?
When they showed that shot of all of them in line,
the long shot.
He was the guy in the way. I thought Lord of the Rings there, so I'm super happy to hear that.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Interesting observation there. I didn't even think of that, but maybe they should have had the never mind. Different fandom, different show, not the discussion we're having.
Well, you gotta get a copyright claim because of that now.
Yes. No,
that wasn't enough.
I will not be getting one of those because it was barely any notes. But anyway, it was a few notes, not a whole lot. Don't worry, we'll be fine. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? Anyway, so the positives. See what I did there?
We're setting a squad up.
I listen, man. I brought it all back. We're not going to be fine. We're not going to get any so and so things happening on my channel. We'll be fine. But anyway, so the positives for me that stood out were Basil, and it's funny because our friend Jen, who normally is co-hosting this show with us, but unfortunately her schedule.
Oh, she was in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, So Jen, unfortunately, can't be with us on this episode of the Nerdy Cantina due to her prior commitment to the Star Wars Galaxy Room that she runs on Clubhouse.com tonight. But I will say she does show up. Jen shows up. She looks great as Vanessa Rowe. She's doing a great job as the character. You know, she has a few dialogue scenes telling, hey, we can't do this. We got to do it this way and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, other than that, that was one of the positives. Jen is back. Good to see you again. You look great. Basil was cool. And it's funny because Jen brought this up in our DM. She said, when I saw the character Basil, I immediately thought this. And it was a gif of Basil of Baker Street from the great film, The Great Mouse Detective from Disney. You know, Basil of Baker Street.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that. But
Neither
when you
did
hear
I.
the name Basil, it's like, oh, yeah, it could be Basil Baker. He's a tracker, and Basil Baker Street is a detective. He finds stuff. It makes complete sense. So I thought that was genius. But anyway, Basil was cool. And then when he made the sounds, you know, or whatever, like trying to warn people that I found her, whatever, you know. That was cool. It was good to see. Who was it? Daphne Keene was in this episode. I thought she did a really good job. She had some good scenes with who was it? OSHA and some of the other characters. You know, giving your the business like this is how we should do it. You're doing it wrong. You know, I like Daphne Keene a lot. I think Daphne Keene is a great apprentice. I think she's going to make a great Jedi when she graduates from the academy, whatever it is.
Also, we finally got Yort saying "citizen" to someone, and that just made my day.
I know, right?
I loved it.
You love the word citizen. So, yeah, Daphne Keene was great. OSHA was fine. May was, twisted, evil, but then she did some stuff that I'm not so happy with. We'll get into the negatives later. But the positives for me were, the scenery looked good, the costumes looked good, the visual effects looked good, and then the ending, that massive ending, shoves everybody away with the Force, push. And I'm thinking, dude, seriously? That's how you're ending the show? How dare you? Like, I want to see them get up and go for round 2. Fight. Like, I want to see a fight, man. I want to see a fight. So hopefully we'll get it next week. We'll see what happens. I have some predictions about that, but we'll get to that later. So, I have predictions, pal. This is like UFC. This is like WrestleMania. I got predictions. All right, man.
Honestly, though, when masterful film shooting, when you see what is that coming down and it's blurry behind her, that was
so creepy.
One of the most creepiest moments in all of Star Wars.
So creepy.
And it was just well done, very well done.
Yeah, I thought that was creepy
like
stuff.
The moment you recognize him, you're like, oh shit,
like we are in trouble. Like something's about to go down, right? Those were the things that stood out for me as far as the positives go. And it's great to see Daphne Keene again. She's great. So those are the things that stood out to me in the positive neck of the woods. And it was a great cliffhanger ending. I will say that, even though I wanted to see round 2 fight, but we're going to get round 2 next week. We're going to get a fight. We're going to have blood. We're going to have sweat. We're going to have tears. And I'm all here for it. So as far as the negatives go, Case, were there any negatives that stood out to you in this week's episode at all?
Well, it was actually mostly the runtime. I felt this was a very short episode. If you look at the other episodes, they're well over 40 minutes long, and this is barely over 30 minutes, which includes the recap and the end credits, which means that it definitely clocks in under 30 minutes, and I think that's a very short episode. And when we got to the cliffhanger at the end, I'm like, that's it? We're done already. So I understand the next week we're going to get like a very action heavy episode that continues this fight, and that's going to be cool and everything. It's just I really wanted more out of it. Also, what is really confusing all of the fandom right now is how the hell is Ki-Adi-Mundi in this thing? Because he appears and he is credited as Ki-Adi-Mundi. It's not a different kind of his species. No, it is the Jedi Master as we know from the prequels. And I'm just like, okay, that's fascinating. Why are you in this? How old are you in the that's a question I think needs answering. Which, I mean, I have the feeling that the show owes us still a lot of answers, and this episode still raises so many questions that I'm like, I have no idea what this means, what that means, what that means. And I am still willing to, give it a shot, unlike some other fans in the fandom who are just shooting it down without any thought of like, oh, maybe this will get explained later, because, there are some people who are just... Whatever. I'm not going to address that right now. I don't want to get into that right now. But yeah, I'm very curious about Ki-Adi-Mundi, what he's doing, why he is in this, and how this will eventually lead to his perspective of like, oh, the Sith have been extinct for a millennium. I'm like, okay, so how do you explain this guy with a red lightsaber? I know he's not necessarily a Sith, but there is something going on. And how do you explain that? So I'm very curious to learn about that. And yeah, there are just so many questions that I'm not entirely sure if they are negatives. They might be. One thing though, one scene is when they're in the forest. I already said this in my review. They're walking in the forest and Osha touches this bug. And I was expecting all the bugs to then wake up and get into a massive scene that all the Jedi have to fight. And it's like, no, it's just this one bug, and Sol just slices it in half. And I'm like, that's it? Okay, that was quick. This was a very short episode, and I felt like you might have wanted to include a little action scene there, but they didn't do that. Okay, that's that. That's what I had to say.
No, I get it. Yeah, could have been a great scene there with all the it's like a bunch of ghosts and Ghostbusters coming at the Ghostbusters all at once, and they have to like cross the streams or do something crazy to like cut them down or whatever. You know, I don't know. I just made that up.
Or
but
just
anyway,
show some Jedi action.
Yeah, Jedi action. All right, lights, camera. All right, camera ready. All right, and action. Anyway, sorry, I wish I had one of those things, but I don't. I need to get one of those clapper things. I need to get one of those. But anyway, I get it. Brian, any negatives for you that stood out in this week's episode you'd like to share with the class?
Yeah. I love all the old jokes too, by the way. It's really amusing tonight.
No problem.
I appreciate it. Seriously, man.
It's all good.
I am just overall, I'm getting tired of shows using flashback sequences to explain everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one thing overall with this series that I get that it's a way of storytelling and, you know, giving us backstory, but I kind of would like to see just show us what's going on right here and now with these characters. I also am disappointed by the lack of action in the roly-poly scene. Remember those roly-poly bugs that, you know, come out from under rocks? I don't know where you guys are if you get those. That's what those reminded me of, and I'm glad they kind of went a little freaky with it. But yeah, that also, I gotta be honest, like I am dying to see Master Soul in a real lightsaber battle. Like I have a feeling we might see some crazy stuff this next episode, but I think he is a cool character. I'd love to learn much more about him in the next few episodes. So that's kind of, I feel like he's underutilized even. He's just kind of leading the troop, the fellowship through the woods or whatever, but I'd like to see more of him. So that's my gripe with him. He's cool. I want to see more of him.
Yeah, maybe next time they'll queue up. They can't play it though, but maybe they'll queue up the Lord of the Rings Fellowship song for you. I don't know. Anyway, that'll make Case happy because we all know how Case feels about Middle Earth. So you know, maybe, who knows? But sorry, what is it, Dion? Any negatives that stand out this week for you? I mean, anything at all? Even though you probably got 30 pages worth. But
no negatives. It's just. My notes, okay, Brian, my notes are usually because I'm a casual Star Wars fan. Yeah. I have questions about things.
How do you think I feel?
And they clown me over my pad and my pen. But anyway.
We appreciate it, though.
Yeah. But no, the runtime on this one, too, came out of nowhere because I usually pay attention to how long the episode is, but for some reason just didn't pay attention to it this time. And when it ended, I was like, wait, what? And
yeah,
that was... You could say a negative, positive. I know what's coming after this, but I was like, man, just give me a little bit of it in this episode. Yord is still a downer, man. I'm not a fan. I get some bad feelings from him too every now and then, but that's for my other thoughts and other things. But then on top of that, just may come into the realization that, you know, now I don't have to kill these Jedi anymore, or I felt like that just came out of left field, especially, you know, with the trap that she set with what's his name? Gamir. Thank you. So, yeah, I thought Gamir may be the master. I thought that, but maybe not. I'm not sure. But I just felt like the way that she came around to be like, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go surrender to the Jedi.
All right, can I respond to this criticism?
Yeah, please, because I didn't. Maybe I missed something.
I've seen this one. Here's the thing. She probably May is a very disturbed character, as I already said in a previous review. She's so disturbed that for the last 16 years, she has probably only believed that these 4 Jedi that she is hunting right now have killed her sister and the rest of her family. She was not aware that her sister is alive, and therefore. Learning that her sister is alive in episode 2 was a humongous shock for her, and she needed time to process that and needed time to think how she felt about that. So she still wanted to go ahead with killing the Jedi initially, because she was like, well, that's what I've been planning for so long now, and I'm finally executing that plan. I'm already 2 down. So cool. So she's going for this last one, Kelnaka, and she's going through the jungle, and she's talking to Khmer about her master, and she is thinking it over. Like, what has my master really been saying to me? Like, she is actively questioning that to Khmer, and Khmer is like, well, just ignore that. We just go ahead with the plan. That's pretty much the gist of what he's saying. And she's just like, well, but I don't really believe that anymore. Maybe I'm a different person. So that's why she sets him up to bait him. And then she's like, okay, now I have you. Now I do this. Now I trap you. And she's just thinking, maybe there's some redemption in a Jedi. Maybe she finally found something in a Jedi where she's like, I can just surrender myself. I'll be in prison. I'll be incarcerated, wherever. I won't die, though, because the Jedi don't believe in death. So at least I'll be safe with them. That is my interpretation of that entire situation. She just needed time to figure out what she thought about all of it.
And it was like, it felt like over the course of, was it one episode? Was the last week's episode when she?
It was one episode, yes.
Yeah.
It happened in 2.5 seconds and it threw me off.
A little quick for me. That was it. But negatives, I think those were only ones that, I felt it, for me at least, it just came. Yeah. But I understand, Case. Yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from. But for me, I think personally, it just felt like it was like out of nowhere.
Yeah,
they've done so much. Yeah, they've done so much going backwards in time to build up these characters. Why would we? It was kind of like, hey, now she's going to turn the other way, and it was a little confusing. But at the same time, though, human beings can be quite fickle, right? We can go back and forth, and in a moment go. You know what I mean? Like we can go. We can do that. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to. What is she really thinking?
You're right. No, it's a good question.
I'm trying to get.
Now since I thought about it, she does make these rash decisions. She in the flashback, she was like, "I'll kill you." Like that came out of nowhere.
I will kill you.
You're right.
I mean, she pulled like Commando Schwarzenegger. Like I'll be like. Remember when I promised to kill you last?
There is a theory that May, in that moment, that she's just like, I'm just gonna set the place on fire and kill you. She was already being influenced by maybe the master or anyone else. That's a theory.
Maybe
it wasn't her exactly.
Maybe she was being manipulated. I don't know. I don't know. Dion, were those were your negatives, right?
Yeah, that was it.
You off.
Yeah,
all
that
right,
was it. Man.
So here's my problem. This show has taken a couple of turns. Some of them I understand, but this week just completely threw me off and really upset me to a degree, because I understand there's character growth. Characters make decisions. Sometimes they go back on some of the things that they say and they go the other direction. I get that. But this happened way too quick with no provocation, with no explanation. It just happened in the middle of the episode. She's like, you know what? I'm not going to be bad anymore. I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm just going to surrender myself to the Jedi and let them deal with me, and I'll have my day in court, Your Honor. No. If you want revenge and want to kill these people, go out and kill them. All right, man? Like, I'm sorry, but her decision to flip from bad person to good person in such a very, 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 very short amount of time is bad dialogue. It's bad writing, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever. So May is now my least favorite character on this show. She's completely blown it for me. Another thing that ruined this episode for me.
That's a hot take.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm just like, you can't flip from one side to the other so quickly without any character development or growth to really, build this up to you flipping the script. There was no build up to it. It just happens, and she's like, I'm just going to surrender myself. I'm done being evil. I want to be good now. No, it's not how it works. It's not how the story works. And the other thing that bugged me a little bit, this is a nitpick, though. This is a nitpick. I'm going to go into some of the other stuff. But one of my nitpicks was you wasted all the hype that you set up for Kelnaka. Kelnaka gets killed
by killing him off screen
instantly, so quickly. He doesn't even have time to do a Jedi mind trick to flicker out his lightsaber and be like, yo, don't mess with me, man. I'm a Jedi, okay? No, he had no fight.
Yeah.
There was no scene. There was no battle. He gets completely wasted. very early. And I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, you build up all this hype about having this new group of Jedi and these new characters. Kelnaka barely gets 10 minutes of screen time.
Because then they tease
They're
him at
gonna
the
do
end
a
of the first
flashback.
episode.
Yeah,
A
but-
flashback.
Yeah.
That's
but
what they're
the
gonna
cheap-
do. They're
that's
gonna
the
give us
cheap
this story
$5
like
That's the $5 Walmart excuse, and I don't like that. Okay, you kill off Trinity in the first 5 minutes of the first episode, and I'm like, you don't kill Carrie-Anne Moss, who's one of the biggest names in Hollywood, after you hire her to be on the show and you hyped up her character so hard that you kill her off in the first 5 minutes. That's not how business works.
Okay, Ryan,
But anyway.
you're old because Carrie-Anne Moss has not been a big name in Hollywood for God knows how long. Let's be
Well,
fair.
no, but I'm just saying, like, okay, all right, maybe I overestimated her popularity, but what I'm saying is that she
We all know her
is
as
a very.
Trinity. Come on.
What I'm saying is she's a very respectable name in Hollywood, and you just kill her off very easily. I thought that was a joke, but anyway, so Kanaka gets
I
killed
just
off.
thought she. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ryan. I just thought my theory originally was she just wanted to be in Star Wars for a hot second. She wanted to have a fight scene. Say she was in Star Wars. Maybe she's a Star Wars fan, and then that's all her contract was. Hey, kill me off. I want to have a great scene, and there you go.
That's
But
fair. Yeah. People
I
do
don't
it
know.
for the paycheck. Yeah, that's true. People do it for the
That's-
paycheck all the time. But so yeah, Kalnaka being killed off, that threw me off. Let's see. The giant bug scene, yeah, that could have been more. It's like one bug. There's like 50,000 that could easily have woken up and given these Jedi, this army of Jedi, a run for their money. But did we get that? Not necessarily.
Did Osha wake that one up specifically? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, she wakes
Like, she said she
one of
could
them up, and you
feel
would think that
it.
the other
I'm trying to
50
make-
would catch
I'm trying
on.
to make it make sense, Ryan. I'm trying to. You're throwing so many darts at it.
Well, I'm sorry.
She gave it a little puppy dog pat. Is all she did.
maybe
She said,
she
"Nice
felt it
puppy."
and she-
Yeah, I
It
will.
was-
And again, it's that's one of those dumb movie TV show things where like
Sure.
nobody else is touching these things.
It's a trope.
Why,
Yeah, it's a
why
trope.
does she think
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna touch this cute looking insectoid thing, like that? Yeah.
Essentially, the only
I'm
reason
sorry.
that I can think for that is because she feels some kind of connection to the animal. Like she's
Yeah.
reconnecting the force in her, and
Yeah.
she feels a connection to this creature.
Yeah,
That's what I can say. about
That's one of the things I liked about this week's episode is Osha saying, hey, I may not be a Jedi anymore, but I'm starting to feel my connection to the Force again. I'm starting to feel
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, okay, that's good. See, she had character development. May had nothing. So, and then Kumir, what's his name? Kamar? What's his name?
Come here,
What is it?
yeah.
Kamir. Okay, so I'm thinking he's the Dark One because how fast could the Dark Master have gotten to where Kanaka was after May tied him up, cut him up, and then he's waiting for Osha and the rest of that crew to show up and just kill everybody. I'm thinking he is the Dark.
To be fair, we only saw him in the first episode, so he had plenty of time.
True, but I'm just saying,
in
like,
between the first episode.
no, but I'm just saying, like, the theory that's going around, I think it's very plausible that he is the Dark One. He's just making himself up to be one of the Dark One's slaves, or be one of his errand boys. You know what I mean? So I think it's still a possibility, but I could be wrong, and that's okay. I don't mind being wrong about that. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I just if I feel like this show had something in the beginning, and now it's just lost a lot of for me. It's lost 50% of its momentum that it had before. So because of what's going on with May, her wanting to turn herself into the Jedi and have her day in court, just happened out of nowhere. I don't like it. There was no build up to that at all. They were like, hey, we made her evil the first half of the season. Now we're going to make her good in the second. No. I want to see revenge tours. I want to see her being evil, conniving, and sniveling. And then I want to see the Dark Lord reveal who this person really is, what he's been doing, if he has been manipulating May this whole time. And May is starting to realize, hey, I've been brainwashed. I want to flip the script and become good again. Okay, I can get with that, but you need to build up to it. You can't just give me 2.5 seconds of it and expect me to be okay with it. Sorry, Hollywood, that's not how I work. So these are my biggest criticisms. This show has been good for me so far, but now it's lost half of its momentum for me. But that's just my 2 cents. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
See, I'm sorry, man. I have to very respectfully disagree with you. I think it's starting to gain momentum. I think it was that first fight scene with Carrie-Anne Moss was phenomenal. Then I was like, da 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 da. Anybody could have wrote this show. Anybody could have written this show, whatever. And now the last 2 episodes, I'm starting to go, I'm interested again. And so I'm also curious. I'm wondering, are we even going to find out who the master is at the end of this season? You think they're actually going to reveal that in season 1?
I think they have to. I really think they have to, because I think that's been the biggest. That's been the mystery of the season. It's for them to drag it out one more season. That would be. Whew, you want to talk about people not liking it now? We don't even
know if we're going to get a season 2, let alone when it's going to air. So it's just like, if you're going to drop this mystery on us, you might as well just solve it all in eight episodes.
It takes 5 years to do a season of any sci-fi show these days. So
yeah, it really does. So I just. Yeah. So anyway, this show's losing steam for me very quick. So I'm hoping next week makes up for it, but who knows? Who knows? But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Cool. For those of you tuning in, what the Bantha fodder is going on. This is the Nerdy Cantina, talking about all things Star Wars, including Star Wars: The Acolyte. Let us know your thoughts in the comments or the live chat. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you're watching this live or on a replay, we thank you for being with us, and we thank our panelists for being with us too. So, Case, what do you hope to see in the next episode or the next few episodes moving forward, man?
Well, the very next episode better have an awesome action sequence based on what was promised here. Like, I feel like this next one has to be an all-out showdown between the Jedi and this Master, because that is what is being promised, and that is what essentially this entire episode was leading up to. Because other than that, this episode to me didn't offer too much that I was like, ooh, that's really interesting. Like, the ending makes this episode for me. So I'm like, if the ending makes it, then the next episode better deliver on an awesome action sequence between the Master and maybe some more revealing stuff. Like, I hear what you have to say, Ryan, about May's character. I still think May is a very interesting character, and there is so much more going on to that character that we haven't seen yet, that we are yet to find out. I think we might get another complete flashback episode explaining May's point of view of the entire incident happening, because the flashback episode that we had last week with episode 3 pretty much showed Osha and didn't really show May. It just showed May as like, oh, I'm going to kill you right now. And I feel like that is not really warranted from her side. So there is more to that is yet to be explained. And I'm very curious to see that in one of the future episodes. It's probably not going to be episode 5, maybe episode 6. This show, I feel, is asking us to be a bit patient with it. A lot of people aren't willing to be patient with it. That's why it's getting so much negative reviews, and that's why I'm just like, I'm willing to wait this out until we have a full season 1. And once we have a full season 1, I'll judge if it was satisfying or not. We'll see about that.
No, I can see that. I totally get it, man. Totally get it. And yeah, the Basil, the ending, and Osha's character development was, I mean, not that it was a whole lot, but it was a bit. Like, we got more. It's like, okay, you're feeling the connection to Force again. You're starting to get back into swing of things. I know that you're hanging out with Jedi Masters. So, you know, that's fine with me. Dion, what do you hope to see with things moving forward, man?
Well, obviously the battle.
Yeah, we want to see blood. We want to see sweat and tears, man.
I wanted to go 40 minutes, so that's what I'm expecting.
Forget 40. I want it to go. I want it to go an hour, man.
I want a whole episode of that.
Go.
But now, so I'm sitting here thinking about it. The whole May thing. She made that rash decision, like, "Hey, kill you," and then make another rash decision of like, "Hey, I'm just going to turn myself in." Maybe that's just her character, man. Maybe that's just. I mean. Maybe that's just it from her. I don't know if you're going to get as much more character development from her. Well, you have 4 more episodes, right? They'll capture and she'll be with Osha for like 2 episodes. I felt like that would have been the time that they could have taken that to sort of build her character, to figure out what she's doing is wrong, sort of thing, or whatever like that. But we'll see. I mean, like Kay said, there's still a lot more left for it. I'm not off the wagon or the train by any stretch of imagination with this one. New characters. Star Wars, this show has given me what I wanted from Star Wars a lot. It's just new characters, new stories, something new from what we've all known and grown up with, right? So that's what I'm going to take from it the most. Again, next episode, you got to give me one of the greatest lightsaber fights I've ever seen. And once they can give me that and deliver that, then we'll figure out the story. I just want an action movie next episode. We'll figure out the story in that. All right.
Action.
Actually, that's what we want. Just nothing but action sequences. It's like a Die Hard movie.
Yeah, we'll figure it out in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. What about you, Brian? What do you hope to see with things moving forward, man?
Less freaking flashback sequences, please.
I can see that.
Although I don't, they've established a pattern though. I don't know. They're probably going to continue it at least through this first season. Maybe if it makes it to a second season, they might slow that down a little bit. But that is my hope. Although I wouldn't mind a flashback sequence about Kelnaka though. Let's learn some more about that Chewbacca or that Wookiee. So that, and honestly, I want to see more of Indara too. If they're gonna do the flashback stuff, let's see how interesting her character is. And I tell you what, I want to remind everybody, and maybe you felt differently about this. I felt like Andor started really slow. It was interesting, but I felt like it was slow, and I think it turned into the best Star Wars series ultimately. And I'm not saying that this is gonna necessarily do that. It may or may not, but Andor, the first few episodes, I was like, I wanted to hang on. I wanted to watch it and persevere and see what happened. But so that's what I'm hoping for this. I'm hoping that this becomes a gem of a show where we go, man, I'm glad we held on and watched this. And then we might get a couple more seasons. But I think I love that, man. I got to say the costuming in this series is fantastic too. But I want to see epic fights. And I honestly, if I had one thing, I want them to develop Master Soul more. Please develop Master Soul more. I think he's cool. I think he's interesting. I think he could become a fan favorite if the writers give him a shot to have more dialogue. So
yeah, I would agree with that totally. Jedi Master Soul is a good actor. He's a good character. I like what he's doing. I like how he's selling this thing, and I want more from him for sure. I want him to fight it out with that Dark Lord of whoever this mystery weird dude is, and just lay the smackdown on him. So who knows? Maybe we'll get it. Maybe we won't. You know, who knows? Possibilities are endless, I guess. But yeah, I'm in a very small minority. If we had to rank the new era of Star Wars TV shows, Andor for me is at the bottom. For me, it's at the bottom because
I don't know if I've heard you say that before.
It was so slow and sluggish to the point where the show has nothing for me. And then the last 2 or 3 episodes, it got going, but I'm like, dude, you took way too long to get here, way too long. And by that point, I was already I had 1 foot out the door.
How many episodes was Andor?
It felt like 100, but it was 12. Only 8.
It was it was 12.
Andor had 12 episodes.
Okay, it felt like 130.
Around what episode was like the jail and Andy Serkis?
Oh, the One Way Out thing.
Oh man, because I was
that late. Okay.
That was that late. Yeah, because
dude, they took
the first 3 episodes is Andor and his home planet and getting off with Stellan Skarsgård. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 are him doing the heist on the planet with the amazing starfield going off over it, which is such a gorgeous fucking scene, honestly. Then you have 1 in between episode where Andor gets captured. Then you have 3 episodes where he's in the prison on Arkina 5.
That was great.
With Andy Serkis. Yeah. And then you
Caesar?
That's with Andy Serkis.
He's with Caesar.
Or Gollum.
I'm gonna say
he's more Caesar in this one.
If anything, he's his actual self. So in that case, I'm gonna go with Ulysses Claw from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But the last 2 episodes is him then going back to his home planet because his adoptive mom died.
Right. But yeah,
and Andor is amazing, and everyone should see it. And Brian, you're wrong.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll be in the minority. It's on the bottom of the list for me of all these new shows. For me, it's at the bottom of the barrel because it of all of them. Yeah, because it took way too long to get to the good stuff, man. Way too long. It was too slow and sluggish for me. I need something. I need adrenaline.
But look at Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi never got to any good stuff.
Well, no,
once the Mandalorian showed up on Boba, I was in.
Well, first of all, I mean, Kenobi, the stuff they had at the end with him and Anakin, that was good stuff. The very end of it was good stuff. But other than that, it was a waste of a show and a waste of time. We didn't even need that show, honest to God. We didn't need it at all, period. You know, there are reasons why there weren't any interactions between these two characters for 19 flipping years. So anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi was a waste. And then Book of Boba Fett was, I mean, I enjoyed parts of it, not all of it, but for me, I enjoyed it more than Andor, which I know is not saying much. But anyway, those are my two cents. But anyway, what I hope to see from this series, known as Star Wars: The Acolyte, to keep the conversation on the rails, because I know, yeah, it's all right, Brian. It's all right.
I'm sorry for railing for.
No, it's all right, Brian. Brian, if you want to defriend me after this, it's fine. I get it. I'm in the minority that doesn't care for Andor, like hardly at all. It's fine. It's fine. If you still want to be friends with me, let me know. But anyway, yeah, what I hope to see from this episode is what Osha's going to be doing now that she's reconnecting to the Force. Maybe she'll be a full-blown Jedi again. Maybe she'll rejoin the Jedi Order. I don't know. Looking forward to seeing Solo lay the smackdown on Evil's candy ass whenever that is, whenever that happens. I want to see what Vanessa Rowe's going to do, because she's doing a lot of heavy dialogue scenes. But is she going to unleash her fury and go out into the field and do some fighting of her own? I don't know. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. I have no idea. Jen, you're the one who is in this show. You're under contract, so you could give me a holler and let me know behind the scenes.
When we need you.
Yeah, she could tell me behind the scenes if she wants. I don't know. But I'm curious to see what happens with that. I'm curious to see who this Dark Master is. I'm very curious. I mean, that's the big mystery here, really. And then, yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing how... I am still looking forward to seeing how the story overall unfolds. It's just that with what certain things that happened during this week's episode specifically, I got one foot out the door. And I don't want that. But hopefully I'll bring my foot back into the door once the next few episodes air, and then I can be like, okay, they made some mistakes here, but they made up for it in the last couple of weeks. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, if you take out the last, like the cliffhanger, it probably could have been a filler episode.
Well, honestly, there's an argument to be made that this was the filler. There's an argument to be made that this was pure filler. So we'll see. We don't know yet. We got
Basil, though.
Yeah, we got Basil the Great. We got Basil. Baker Street is in live action, and he's in Star Wars. So, dude, when Jen told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. But it's great. Basil's a cool character. He's a tracker, and sometimes we need a tracker for the tracker of the tracker. So, you know, yeah. If we lose him,
anything.
Well, I'll tell you what. If the Dark Lord or whoever this mystery dude is flicks him like he flicked Osha, we were like, Basil, don't die on me. And then we're gonna need a tracker to find the tracker. So who knows? Because he probably flicked him like 500 miles away. We don't know yet. We don't know. But anyway, those are the things I look forward to seeing, is how the story unfolds in general. Hope to see some of the mistakes that were made that get corrected in the next couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. But hey, this is a new story with new characters, new stuff going on. I'm down for it. I'm in for it. We'll see how it goes. It's just that this week just turned the corner for me a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Those are my 2 cents. Well, listen, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in, who's been watching this live or on a replay. You've been commenting. I appreciate all of you. Thank you to our panelists for being a part of this. This was a great episode of Nerdy Cantina. I hope to be back next week. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled time, which is Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time rather than 9 o'clock. The only reason we did it at 9 p.m. is because we had a certain programming scheduled for an episode of And I Quote, which we did with Samantha Mina, who's an indie sci-fi author, for those of you who like sci-fi and fantasy. Hello! Go back and watch that episode, because Samantha Mina's got a lot of great stuff going on in her Spectrum novel series, to be a little bit more specific. Feel free to look up that episode, but this has been great. Case, if someone wants to know more about you and some of your interesting, fascinating takes on the galaxy far, far away, where can they follow you, man?
Oh, you can follow all my fascinating and hot takes over on my YouTube channel, The Dutch Star Wars Guy, as you can see over here, where I have actually uploaded quite a controversial video talking about the controversy that is the Acolyte, the criticisms toward it. I am getting a lot of comments already, and I'm probably going to do a reaction video to those comments next week where I address everything, because I think this entire discussion about the Acolyte is really fascinating. So I need to really speak my mind about it. So go to my channel to watch those videos. You can also follow me on Twitter at DutchSW Guy, and over on Letterboxd for other movie stuff, not necessarily Star Wars. Case 247, in case it's spelled this way. And that is it. Thank you for having me. And let's make sure that this podcast of the Acolyte doesn't get any dislikes like all the other videos do.
We'll see what happens, man. Anything's possible in this crazy. We'll see what happens in this crazy mixed up world that we're living in. Dion, my man, if someone wants to know more about you and the incredible things that you're doing over there at what is known as All-Star Fandom Show, if I'm not mistaken, where can they follow you specifically on social media?
Yeah, All-Star Fandom Show on Instagram and TikTok. And Case, I think Ryan's going to get, and Brian, I think Ryan's going to get the comments for Andor for this video, so don't worry about it. But yeah, over on All-Star Fandom, all we do is celebrate things that people are fans of, whether it's cosplays, Batman, Superman, action movies, whatever that fandom might be, we talk about it there. Live shows every Thursday, hopefully, fingers crossed, throughout the summer. And then a few other interviews just with people who sort of have a foot within those fandoms that we all love. So we just celebrate things that we love. And Brian, again, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm learning some things myself. Hope to have you back on next week, Dion. You're more than welcome to join us. And also, Brian, good to see you again, man. It's been a hot minute since we've seen you. It's been so long, but we're glad to have you back. If someone wants to know more about you and some of the incredible things that you and the crew over there at the Big Sci-Fi Podcast are doing, where can they follow you, big man?
They can follow us on Twitter at the Big Sci-Fi Podcast, Instagram, the Big Sci-Fi Podcast. We do have a YouTube page, but we kind of keep that for in between season content. But check that out at the Big Sci-Fi Podcast. You can follow me personally at the Real Pastor Brian. I'm a sci-fi writer as well. I've got a novel out as well that's a historical fiction book. But you can follow my sci-fi writing and fantasy writing at Brian Donahue or B Donahue at Substack. bdonahue.substack.com and check that out. Would love to connect with you guys and listen to the Big Sci-Fi Podcast, where we talk about all things sci-fi, but our real love is, I won't say it here because we're at Star Wars show, but yeah, it's the other big one. So thanks for having me on, Ryan. Appreciate it, bro.
No, you're quite welcome, and we're very happy to have you here, and you're more than welcome to come back anytime, brother. We love it. And yes, they talk about something known as Star Trek. I don't know what that is. It's only been around for like 60, 70, 80 years, something like that. I don't know. We're getting too old for this. But if you want to check out that stuff, please do support the Big Sci-Fi Podcast because they support us, and we do our best to support them as well. So give them a follow. Everyone here a follow for me, will you? My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Specifically, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Follow us across all forms of social media simply at And I Quote Channel. You can find all our shows there. The replays are there as well. Go to our YouTube channel. Help us reach 5K. We want to reach 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So we can throw a great big live stream celebration. It's going to have returning guests, some surprises, and special giveaways that you, our incredible subscribers and viewers and listeners, are going to be eligible to win, I should say. Movie watch longs are on the weekend, Saturday, 7 p.m. EST, and then on Sundays at 3:30 p.m. EST. Our next one is going to be on Sunday, June the 23rd, 3:30 p.m. EST. We're going to be celebrating the 35th anniversary of Tim Burton's Batman. That's right. One of the most influential comic book movies of all time. Yes. And I'm very excited about it. And we're going to have a great panel of guests for that too. So make sure you join us for that. Once again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified of when our videos go up or they go live. Check out the flagship show, And I Quote, on the And I Quote playlist. We just did the interview with Samantha Mina. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And remember, the Force will be with you always. Take a look.
There's so many. Has anyone been to them all?
Not likely.
I want to be the first one to see them all.
Truly wonderful the mind of a child is.
Come on. When you find people who need your help, you help them. No matter what.
Good luck. We have hope. Hope that things can get better. And they will.
Stand up together. Because that's when we're strongest. As one.
You won't be going alone. You'll have a friend with you.
No. I'll have a Jedi with me.
You might want to buckle up, baby.
is in the Force.
Take care of us, little one.
It'll take care of you. We had each other. That's how we won.
Force is strong in my family.
Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
What is it they've sent us?
Hope.